Remember the first time you watched videos about space? The first time you witnessed a miracle? Or had a riveting worship experience where God's goodness and faithfulness were undeniable to you? When was the last time you truly believed that anything is possible, even in the face of the toughest obstacles? Wonder is an underrated part of faith, and today I'm going to speak about why wonder is important and how each of us can cultivate it in our lives. So the Old Testament Israelites are notorious for forgetting often the great miracles that God has performed for them. We see the 10 plagues before they leave Egypt, and then Moses parts the Red Sea, and then there's manna falling from heaven, actual food from heaven, and yet they often grumble and complain and want to go back to slavery even. At some point, Moses goes up a mountain for about 40 days. And when he comes down, I kid you not, these people now have a different religion. They've created a golden calf and they're worshipping the calf. It seems the miracles would be lost on them as soon as they weren't happening anymore. And then there are also the disciples. Jesus feeds thousands of people in front of them, but shortly after, they're terrified about lack. And the Bible talks about how their hearts were hard. And sometimes when we're reading this, it's easy for us to feel like, are you guys that dumb? How could you just forget? Isn't it obvious? Are you not embarrassed?
Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
And yet, I find that we often lose our sense of wonder at who God is and the different ways He's shown up for us. Sometimes things go so well that you cannot imagine ever having another doubt in your life. Yet disappointment strikes and you're baffled by your own response. How did I lose faith so quickly? How am I so discouraged that former miracles have no effect on me? How do I even get back to trusting God without holding Him ransom? The answer is worship. Worship isn't just God's self-centered requirement to have His followers stroke His ego. He's not narcissistic and admiration hungry. Worship does so much more for the worshiper than we realize. We do not simply worship God when He has just done something great. Part of what worship does for us is give us perspective when it seems He hasn't met our expectations. As I sing, meditate upon, and declare His greatness, I am forced to bring that into focus. Worship sets worries aside as we contemplate His magnificence. I've had many perspective shifts just from participating in a worship service. And that's not to say that true worship is limited to the corporate setting. There have been moments in my room where I sing about His goodness until I'm convinced again of it. Worship isn't a fake it till you make it situation where you must psych yourself into believing something that's not real. It's where you go to have the film from your eyes removed, for you to have a wider and therefore more truthful view of reality. If we always have something taking up primary mind share, then magnifying God forces something else, anything else, into a smaller compartment. It then cannot have the effect that it was supposed to have. At church the other day, someone shared a story that some of you might consider corny, okay, typical church stuff. So she'd seen some missed calls from some security company, and she was worried about why the calls weren't going through, especially because she could have actually been in danger. And so when she tries to call them, she's kind of upset, like, why are the calls not going through? What if I was actually in danger? You guys need to be more efficient. Something tells her as she's yelling at these people to check if she hasn't actually blocked their number. And she found that she had. And then she was encouraging us in the church that sometimes you block God. Sometimes you find that you've blocked God and you're complaining about all the ways He's not moving in your life. But it's actually some actions that you've taken that are preventing Him from moving. The Bible says that Jesus couldn't perform as many miracles in His hometown. Is that because His powers were drained? Did God love people there less? Absolutely not. The Bible makes it clear that their unbelief limited Him. The voice of disappointment, pain, and doubt can be loud in your heart and in your mind. One of the best ways to fight through is worship. We don't worship because we just need an extra item to fill up the program in church. I truly believe that worship is a believer's lifeline. It keeps you in wonder. It helps you manage your mental health, where what was daunting then loses its power. Why don't you prioritize worship in your day to day? It doesn't have to be hours locked away, but you can make it so that you give yourself a moment each day to contemplate His mighty works. Worship until it's the only thing that fills your mind. Give yourself the opportunity to once again be in awe of who He is and what He can do. Be intentional about allocating time for wonder in your life daily. Put on some worship music. Grab a cloth and dance around your room. Recite a psalm out loud as many times as you need to, or simply sit in silence as you remember all He has done. Whatever way you choose, allow yourself to regain your sense of wonder.